I am a content and copywriter, and I work predominantly with professional services, business owners, and also quite a lot of health and well-being professionals as well. And I help them with their SEO website copy, SEO blogging, also quite a lot of stuff on LinkedIn profiles, LinkedIn strategy and content for that, and a whole bunch of other marketing bits and pieces like lead magnets, ebooks. And finally, I am also a children's book author as well. So I've written 12 children's books in the past year. Had to do something during lockdown, right? Okay, so I do have a free blogging checklist and template. If anybody's interested, please do put your email in the chat, or feel free to email me at michelle@eshkeri.co.uk. I promise you your email will only be used to send you these freebies, and you won't be added to any mailing lists. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? We're talking about blogging, and first of all, why even bother blogging? So the most important reason to blog, well, let's say two most important reasons to blog, are building your credibility as a genuine business and growing your authority as an expert in the field, but also increasing your community. And of course, we're all in business, so ultimately we'd like to get more clients and sell more products or services. So the reason why you want to blog primarily is to drive traffic to your website, and that may be through organically having your blog found through Google, or by you driving people to your blog from your social media, and we'll talk about both of those in just a moment. So what is SEO all about? Why do we even need it? Of course, you can get your content to the top of Google by using paid advertising. And you'll see that when you do a search on Google, right at the top of the page, you've got the paid adverts coming up. But if you can achieve organic ranking on page one, this is the most coveted form of marketing on Google, because you are in control and you can keep your page or your post ranking up there without having to keep paying for adverts. As soon as you switch off your advert on Google, it's going to start to drop down the rankings and it will disappear off of page one. But if you know how to find the right keywords and you know what to do with those once you've got them, then you can continue to rank highly for your chosen topics. So if you don't keep standing out to Google, over time you will drop down the rankings. So that's why SEO is never ever finished. It's an ongoing labor of love. So I've had clients that come to me and say, can you SEO my site? Yes, but then you have to keep it updated. So Google wants fresh content. Google wants to serve up the most appropriate content for the user's question. And it wants to know that that content is up to date. So if you create a lovely, beautiful looking website, but then you never update it again, you're going to really struggle to rank highly on Google. So SEO essentials. There are 3 different types of SEO that you could consider working on when it comes to your website. We're going to be focusing in a minute on on-page SEO, which is the content. So what you actually write on your pages and on your blog posts that helps Google recognize what your post is about. That's what we call on-page SEO. We've also got off-page, which is to do with how many backlinks or other links on the web point to your website, and also how much is your social media driving people to your website. That's off page. And finally, your technical SEO is all about how the back end of your website works, and also the user experience on your website. So things like, how long does it take to load? Are your images too large and therefore it's they're not rendering well? Is it difficult to navigate your website? All of these sorts of things. But for tonight, we're focusing on page. Now, don't worry too much about this, getting this down, or feel free to take a picture of this screen if you want to. It will be in the checklist if you want that. But for on-page content, you need to put your keyword or phrase in various places in your blog in order for Google to find it. So we're going to have our keyword in the title. We need to have it in the first sentence of your very first paragraph, as early on in that sentence as you possibly can, as well, if you can. We want to have it in at least one of the subheadings, and it's really important to break your copy up into subheadings so that it's easy for somebody to read it. As Edith was saying, if you've got a big dense block of text, it puts people off. So you want to, you know, use almost as much white space as you possibly can to make it look good and easier to read. So at least one subheading needs to contain your keyword, and 2 or 3 more times in the body of your post. Now that is assuming a roughly a 500-word blog. If your blog is longer than that, you're probably going to need it to have it in another subheading and maybe a few more times in the copy as well. And then on the back end of your website, there are a couple of other places where you would want to put your keyword or key phrase so that Google can rank you more highly. So the meta description, that's the bit of text that you see against a link when you search on Google. That's also needs your keyword. And against your images, there's something called alt text description. It's simply the description of an image that you put on the back of your website so that Google knows what that image is, because Google cannot actually read images. So you need to tell Google what the image is, and by putting your keyword in there, that can help you to rank, and your content can be shown actually on Google Images as well, if Google knows what it's about. And finally, keyword as part of your image file name. So if you do all that, which is a lot more than most people do, you're going to push your content much higher up the list. Okay, so let's sort of think about how we would decide about what we're going to write. So if I'm a florist, perhaps I might be thinking about writing a blog about flower arranging. So I can go into Google, type in flower arranging, and see what questions other people are asking about that topic. So I'm just going to switch quickly to the next slide and then probably back again. As you can see what I just mentioned, going to put flower arranging into Google, and the first few results that are returned are going to be the paid ads. The next few will be the highest ranking organic content. And then about halfway down the page, you'll find this really helpful little area called People Also Ask. You might not have even noticed it before if you don't scroll down very far, but this is really helpful because all of these questions make wonderful blog titles, because you're exactly matching what people are asking with your blog title. And if you click on the little down arrow, it'll actually unfold even more topics that you could potentially write about. Let's just go back for a second. Yeah, so if you've got pen and paper, and if you want to do this very quickly, because I know we haven't got a lot of time, have a quick think about a topic that would be relevant to your business, and have a really quick Google. I'm literally going to give you a minute, have a Google on that topic and see what questions are coming up. And that could be the next title of your blog. So literally 1 minute to do that real quick.
Michelle, while they're doing that, just we've had some people ask if it's okay to share your email so they can contact you for your checklist.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll pop that in the chat.
Just give you a couple more seconds. I know I'm pushing you along very fast, but I've got a lot to get through. Okay, so once you've got your possible keyword, topic keyword, or topic title, then you need to move on to actually looking at keywords. So if you're really serious about blogging and getting the, right to the top of Google, you're probably going to need a paid tool to help you. But if you're just writing blogs purely for your own business, you might start with the free options. So we've got Google, which we just mentioned, people also ask section. And if you scroll right down to the bottom of that page, you sometimes also find related searches. So these are other similar keywords around your topic. So for flower arranging, we might get floristry classes or flower workshops. So they are what we call sort of similar keywords that you can add into your blog to help Google understand what it's about. And then there's another site called answerthepublic.com. Again, you put in a couple of words. So we put in flower arranging, and that will pull back sometimes hundreds, but certainly in the tens of different questions that people are currently searching for on Google, and they make really great keywords and blog titles as well. If you do want to dive deeper into keyword research, you will need a paid option which will show you things like how many people are actually searching per month. So you get the volume of searches on a particular keyword. You also get how competitive that keyword is, and you get information about your competitors and how, what keywords they're ranking for, who's at the top of the list for those particular keywords. But you're getting additional value, so you do generally need to pay for that. The one I use costs me about £15 a month, I think it is. So it's not really expensive. Okay, so moving on to actually writing a 500-word blog. People are often overwhelmed at the thought of writing a blog. They're quite happy doing their shorter social media posts, and sometimes they're quite happy writing a long social media post, but when you say, oh, let's write a blog, they're like, don't really know where to start. So this is a really simple structure that you can use. So 500 words, 5 paragraphs. So 100 words in each. So you're going to start with your introduction, 100 words, 3 key points, and 100 words on each of those, and close with your key message and a clear call to action for your blog. That's your 500 words. Easy, right? No, not necessarily. If you've got a blank sheet of paper or a blank screen, I would say start with the end in mind. Work out what you want the reader to do next once they've read your blog. There's no point in spending a load of time writing a blog if you don't tell them what you want next. It might be a hard sales to action, a sales call to action, I should say, like, click on buy now and it takes you to the shop, or it might be something soft like, what do you think? Leave your comment here. Either way, always have a call to action. Into the main body, we've got 3 paragraphs, and that would roughly work out to be about 7 to 10 sentences, okay? But vary the length of your sentences. Try and make it interesting. Pull in something that's maybe a little bit unusual if you can, and be sure to try and connect each paragraph to the previous one. So the last sentence in one paragraph should lead nicely into the next paragraph. Okay. So the next thing you need to do is brainstorm as many key points you can about your chosen topic. All right. This was something I did earlier, so we were actually getting people to do this, but we don't have time tonight. So don't worry about writing anything down now. But let's go back to the flower arranging example. We might want to tell people our 3 main points are the materials that you're going to use, the preparation that you need to do, and then actually how do you start assembling your flower arrangement. So those are our 3 main points. And then we're going to take each of our main points, so those are our 3 paragraphs, and we're going to drill down and understand what are the 3 key messages that you would tell a client about that. So going back to my example again, your flower arranging blog, we're going to talk about materials. So in that we might say, well, we obviously need flowers. Can't do much of an arrangement without them. We're going to need floristry wire. We're going to need oasis, and we might talk a little bit about the best types of oasis, and we're going to need something to put them in. And that you'll find 100 words will go very, very quickly. Okay. when you're writing your blog, you're just going to go through that, process 3 times and you've got your 3 paragraphs. Simple, right? Our introduction. Surprise, delight, intrigue, or even confuse your reader. You need something to draw your reader in so that if you've got them past your title, which obviously needs to be compelling, they've clicked on the title, they read the first line, you've got to grab them at that point. You've got to give them something that's interesting. You could use statistics. People like numbers. They want to know sort of the averages and top information about certain things, or you could start off by trying to tell them something startling that they don't really know, or even using humor as well. Anything that can pique their interest and keep them on your blog that bit longer. If somebody reads your whole blog, they're dwelling on your site for a long time, and Google loves that. It's going to push your content up the rankings as well. How much time have I got, Lizzie?
You've still got about 5 minutes, and then we'll open the floor to some questions.
Okay, probably won't need all that, but anyway. So distribution. There is no point spending all this time and effort and frustration and pulling your hair out writing your blog if you're not going to tell anybody about it, right? You put it on your website, nothing happens. Well, duh. You got to tell people, okay? So obviously you want all people to be finding it. That's the whole point of your keyword research, but you can tell people too. So make sure you're sharing it on your social media, and more importantly, ask others to share it and have them comment actually on your blog, on your website. It's nice getting comments on your, the Facebook post, but more important is for them to actually go to your website and make a comment on your blog. And if you do get comments on your blog, please, please, please reply to those comments, because again, Google is noticing that you're having a conversation, and it's like, oh, this website's, getting interest. Let's push it up the rankings. The other thing you can do is to repurpose your blog. So we've got 3 paragraphs. Well, we've got 5 paragraphs, obviously, but we've got the body of our blog is our 3 main points that we want to tell a client. So each of those can be repurposed quite easily into another social media post, or we can just take one line from our blog, put it on top of a lovely photograph of flowers. Yeah, back to that particular example, and use it on our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever. Always, making sure that we link back to the full blog, because the idea is that you're driving traffic to your website. Also, you could choose to repurpose it in other formats other than written, of course. So if you're into the video or the audio, you could make it into short video snippets, quick 1-minute video tips, or even repurpose the whole blog into an audio podcast. So, summary. Topic and keyword research. You can do most of that you need in Google. Structure of your blog, 5 100-word paragraphs. Compelling first couple of lines. One thing I haven't mentioned in a great deal of detail is the title of your blog. There's a couple of tools that you can use. One is Co-Schedule Headline Analyzer. You can actually type your title, your proposed title in, and it will tell you how compelling your title is, and it will give you suggestions for improvement. So that the list of tools will be on the checklist if anybody wants it. Don't forget your call to action, and make sure you get as much value out of that writing as possible by repurposing it to other platforms and other formats.